Fantastic. I agree. Brilliant. Jake Saunders has been mentioned already.
Who?
Seems to be somewhere around.
Look off.
Isn't it plain? I give you Jake Saunders the best man.
What is he doing?
What's up, Carnarvon? See, as good as that moment was, it's just dawned on me that this is pretty much it for the entire speech. And if anyone's fluent in sarcasm, I hope you appreciate that I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. So bear with me. Okay. Friends, family, Mike.
Yeah.
This country is often painted as divided these days, whether it's by age or ideals or geographically. But look at you all here for John and Emily. I think it's absolutely wonderful. So, right, let's do the cringe-worthy headcount. We've got people who travel from, well, the country we're in now. Wales?
Yeah!
We'll try that one again. Wales? Yeah! There you go. We've got a considerable number originating from the greatest city in the world, Newcastle. That's disappointing, but we'll go for that, that's fine. We also have a rather splendid congregation of the greatest people in the world, Scousers. Put you to shame now, put you to shame. We've also got a smattering from, now, sorry if I don't pronounce this right, the South. Going further afield, I know we have a couple of people with us from Scotland. A couple of other places that I haven't actually researched. And we did have some guests with us from Croatia, but they've not turned up for some reason. And lo and behold, we have somebody with us from Singapore today. Like I said, look at you all. The bride and groom should be immeasurably honoured. You've come from all across the world for a free meal. My name is Jake, and unfortunately for you lot, I am the best man. Obviously, at this point, I should say something along the lines of I met John during university, a student halls party, and my earliest memory was seeing him passed out with his head in the toilet. No, the universe put John and I together from the ages of 4. So you can imagine actually standing here on his wedding day is a very, very, very surreal moment. One of my earliest memories of John is the first I went round to his house for tea and burdened Kathy and Will with my existence. John and I thought it was the most inspired decision to play with wooden trains in the mud. And I will never, ever, ever to this day forget my mother's face when she arrived early to pick me up and discovered me being hastily washed in a bucket. And that set the tone, really. One of the most ridiculous friendships spanning over 20 years. Is that right? 20 years?
22
years.
Oh!
So, what is it I think of when I think of John? Well, there's this outstanding grin that he seems to pull on every single photo. Top left picture on that little handout that you've all got there. There's also the films we've made together over the years, of course. The stylish collection of grandad jumpers you seem to have collected. The maturity being that of a 6-year-old boy. And the very unique ability to deliver roughly what you ask of the man, but not always in the way you expect. For example, a couple of others and I were coming to the end of a very hectic filming week. John kindly said he would pitch in as an extra for a complicated scene. He asked me what sort of attire he'd need, to which I said something nondescript, inconspicuous, and definitely not scene-stealing. He came down the stairs dressed as, well, it's the top right picture on your handouts. Now, For me, that's Dracula about to play 19 holes. 19, 18. The point is, though, after a very stressful week, we all needed that boost. Even if we didn't necessarily know that we needed it. Vintage Bowie. Equally so, I will never forget the timeless moment that John told me he was engaged. Now, I feel this is something every generation can appreciate. He told me via Facebook Messenger. He told me he'd asked Emily a very important question, and that she said yes. Now, obviously, you had been asking me if you could keep that inflatable kangaroo called Skippy. But I knew what this moment was, and how much it meant to John. Equally so, I will never forget the moment that John asked me to be his best man. We were off out with a few others, and he pulled me to one side. I knew what was about to happen, and hilariously, for two lifelong friends, I will never forget how awkward it was. I could almost see John's inner thoughts of, let's just get this over with so we can go and watch Star Wars. Of course, my favourite part of the best man responsibilities is already over. Quite possibly the greatest weekend of our lives. Yours started. There was leg waxing, there was armpit licking, we nearly killed Scoey with a ghost. Good times, good times. Where are the snacks? It was an honour. And you're all wearing your pins as well, so I can't name check any of them. And of course that brings us to today, to your union with Emily. Emily, why didn't John take your surname? Bacon beats Bowen, and that's just it. Plus, when the time comes, you could have said you were having little piglets. You've been married 5 minutes and we're bringing up the baby jokes. Yes, Mrs. Bowen. I think I speak for everybody in this room when I say that you look absolutely stunning. You and your bridesmaids look amazing. I'm sure your parents are beyond proud of you. It was just so nice of you all to go out for mine and John's special day. Always time. I'll always remember the day that I met Emily, and that's because in truth, I forgot I was meeting her. I was finishing work, enjoying my friends at the pub, who were all laughing and enjoying themselves. Hang on, there's someone else in there. Oh yes, John's girlfriend that he's introducing to everybody. What made it so memorable is that it already seemed like Emily had always been there.
Yes,
It was a very good sign. Fast forward to a few weeks later, and we were off on our annual Chester Christmas market excursion. And among the photos that day was the bottom left picture on your handouts. There's the goon and his girl, and lo and behold, she has the same outstanding grin. That small moment made me stop and think that this could be the woman John spends his life with. And watching the pair of you since then, off on adventures up rather large hills, converting John over from old man beer to wine, just fitting so seamlessly together, for me it's always been a when and not if this day finally arrived. Like I said, particularly for me, this is a very surreal moment. Before I mention what comes to mind when I think of John, and even though I rattled off a few things, trying to summarise the enigma of the Bowen has always been a challenge, but I think I've got it now. Now this is something that I feel John's nearest and dearest can appreciate the most. When you're off out to a social gathering and you find out that John's joining you, you get a little buzz, a little rush of excitement. You think John's going, this will be a really good night. And you're not quite sure why you feel that way, but you know the night is going to be that little bit better, that little bit more hilarious. As if, to be quite honest, the plights of the adult world no longer matter. And quite simply, that's because John Bowen brings out your inner child. I'm sure you all agree with me, ladies and gentlemen, what a beautiful gift to share with the world. John, watching you grow into the man you are today has been both a privilege and a fascinating case study. And over the years, we've become somewhat lost in the worlds we've made together, to the point where we frequently forget about real life responsibilities. But there's one final adventure that neither me nor anyone else can follow you into. And quite simply put, if you'll pardon the Doctor Who reference, everyone, that's just because you've already found the perfect companion. So to you, the Bowens, I offer you each these words. John. Remember the birthdays? For goodness sake, don't forget the anniversaries. And no, you cannot name your child John II or John Part 2.
Junior. Still junior.
Emily, be mindful of which big ideas or cunning schemes you agree to. Your marriage to John will be both ridiculous and wonderful in equal measure. Just know that no matter the madness, the adventures, and the lifetime you're about to spend together, you will always find a way to bring that inflatable kangaroo back into the house. Right, okay. It's come for that time of the proceedings where we raise a glass. To the most important people in this room, whom without, we wouldn't all be here today having the most wonderful time. The bar staff.
I agree.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can appreciate this is a moment I've been waiting for since about 14 years of age. It is my distinct honour to say to you all, to John and Emily. Also, I don't actually know the story behind that final picture. I thought it was just really important that you all saw it. Cheers.